They said, "We are the innkeepers, and you are the traveler." They told me I couldn't take any jobs here without asking them first. I replied that I could become an innkeeper just like them, but I advised them to provide me with materials, or else they might find themselves up against a formidable competitor someday. They didn't believe me. Help me out. Either help me or take my life. I'm rebelling, as you see. And crying at the same time, I fell asleep. I was born in downtown Marden. I'm the fourth child in a large family of 8 kids. I started my first job in the 2nd grade of elementary school. I was shining shoes on one hand and going to school on the other, while also thinking about what else I could do, what else I could add. Then my brother and I decided to buy a bicycle, but since we didn't have the money for it, we saved up a bit. We worked extra hours beyond our usual working time in the evening to gather some money. We bought a bicycle on installment. After getting the bicycle on installment, we would ride it during our free time, but we were also juggling school and work at the same time. In the evenings, my brother and I would work overtime to pay off the bicycle's installments. Of course, while we were doing this, we hadn't taken winter into account. When winter came, it started to become difficult to make the installment payments. First installment, second installment, then one of the kids asked if he could rent the bicycle from me. That's actually how we got started in business. The rental thing started from there. I said, "Sure, you can have a ride for 1 lira." Right by the school I attended, there was a side street. He rode up and down that side street and paid me 1 teraliter. Then he brought money again. That's how the first bicycle rental business started. Then 1, 2, 3 bicycles, and so it began. The first bicycle rental business in Marden actually started like this. Then, when we had 4 or 5 bicycles, since the bicycles were second-hand, they kept breaking down, and we had to take them for repairs, since we spent half of the money we earned. On fixing the bicycles, I said to myself, I have to solve this problem. I decided to learn bicycle repair. There's a district close to us, Kiziltepe. That's where these kinds of jobs are concentrated. I went there for 15 days. I worked for free alongside a bicycle mechanic. I learned how to repair bicycles. I also got my spare parts from there. How to repair a punctured bicycle tire, I learned that too. I came back and got myself a set of tools. Now I repair my own bicycles, and the savings on maintenance costs were significant. In my free time, I now repair bicycles that come from outside. By the time I was 12, the bicycle rental business was well established. Everything was in place. And we started to become somewhat institutionalized in that field. After that, from the age of 12, because Marden is a small place, someone would copy you. When others started renting bicycles, I said I had to leave this business. After leaving the bicycle business, I said, now I have to sell bagels, simit. There was a state hospital in Marden at that time. At the state hospital, there were these steps going up. All the bagel sellers would line up there in order. There, unlike here, depending on the size of your family or the size of your tribe, you could get a spot. The one at the very front, at the very beginning of the hospital gate, would be a member of the largest family, like their son. I, as a bagel seller, managed to get the 5th spot there. But I always had this in my head. How can I rise to the top? I wondered. In terms of seniority and family, it was impossible because they were bigger than me. However, I needed to do something commercial. I asked around. I said, who makes the best bagels? They told me there's a place called Seyhan Bakery at the station. Go there, they only work on orders, they said. He was selling bagels to military units, not to bagel sellers. I said I would convince him somehow. I was 12 years old at that time when I went there. He was an elderly uncle. May God have mercy on him. An uncle named Kamal. I went to him and said I wanted to sell bagels. He said, no, we work wholesale. I said I would buy in bulk, and he asked how many bagels I would buy. At that time, I was selling 40 bagels. I will sell to my friends. Because it was my goal, I said I would sell 200 bagels. If you're going to sell 200, it's okay, he said. What's the price? I asked. He said 90 kurus. Asterisk. I said if you give it to me for 80 kurus, I'll buy it. Okay, he said. We made a deal with the uncle and he was pleased with it. A 12-year-old boy is going to buy and sell bagels wholesale, he said. Okay, where are you selling these bagels? He asked. I said I have such a goal. I want to sell bagels to my friends wholesale. I need to have a competitive price and the bagels need to be the best, I said. Okay, he said, and helped me out. Then he asked, how many bagels are you going to buy now? I said I would buy 50 bagels. Do you have the money for 50 bagels? No, I said. I'm going to take the bagels, sell them, and then bring back your money. We started a cycle of in and out. Then I took 50 bagels, and because my bagels were better, rich in sesame, everyone started buying from me. By 2 o'clock, 3 a.m., all my bagels were sold out. My friends were asking where I got these bagels. Of course, I didn't reveal my secret. The next day, I gathered my friends. I said, I have an offer for you. Tell us your offer, they said. I said, let me bring you these bagels too. The bagel bakery is selling bagels only to me, not to the outside. I made it sound like I had the exclusive rights to sell them. They agreed. What's the condition? They asked. I said, I will be in the first spot. They normally buy the bagel for 1 lira. I said I will give it to you for 90 kurus. They got angry. Are you eyeing our spot? Calm down, I said. Let me continue, then I said. Continue, they said. I said, I will sell all your bagels. I will be in the first spot. But after 2 o'clock, I will take back any unsold bagels, I said. They accepted when I put it that way. I moved to the first spot, and now I started selling 100 bagels myself by 2 o'clock. They all give up, and I take the remaining bagels. Now, those coming down from the hospital buy from me, and those leaving the hospital were buying from me too. Now my bagel sales reached 300 pieces. While I was selling bagels, we bought a car on installment for my brother. He was doing pirate taxiing. There was no official taxi in Mardin then. He was doing that. As the business grew, I started being the boss to my brother. I would tell my brother to pick up the bagels and deliver them to the other bagel-selling friends. I come to the stall at 9. I start selling bagels at 9, then I did that job for 2 years. We made a lot of money. Thank God. When I was 14, I had a car on installment, that is, I started taxiing. We worked from evening to morning. That period was the height of terrorism. They would block the roads every day. Every day they would kill people. Matt, unfortunately, there were such problems, everyone knows. I was in Mardin during those times. I lived in Mardin, we experienced all those troubles. I actually took a risk while doing the taxi business then. Because while everyone would go home around 6, 7 p.m., our work just started then. We would take customers from evening till morning. And since we were the only taxi, we made a lot of money. We took risks that no one else would take. I continued with pirate taxiing for 2 years. We said we need to do something official. Apply for a taxi stand, open a taxi stand. We made the first official commercial taxi application in Mardin. This was done at the Mardin Square, near the bus station. Then when I turned 17, I said I need to venture into car rental for official institutions. At that time, there was no culture of car rental in official institutions. I am the first person in Mardin to provide cars to official institutions. In the company we founded with my brother, we got a tender from the Provincial Special Administration. We obtained our job completion document, then 5 or 6 years passed. Within 5 or 6 years, our vehicle fleet was larger than that of the Provincial Special Administration. Of course, we took risks, worked with banks. You know how they say, don't do business with banks. It's problematic. I disagree. Banks are the best partners for those who know how to do business, who take risks, and who are masters of their work. If directed correctly, if they do their business right, the best partner is the bank. I have come to these days in a way thanks to banks. Because my father was a carpenter, he didn't have any capital. We made it somewhere with banks. I'm not really complaining about banks, to be honest. I see them as partners. I look at it from a project perspective. They provide the money, and if you are in control of your business and do it properly, banks become a kind of partner to you, your project partner. After official institutions again, some people tried to enter our business through tenders. I said, I will do road construction. I started road contracting at the age of 22. When I turned 23, I entered one of the biggest tenders in Mardin. I got the excavation work for the Mardin-Diyarbakir dual carriageway. At that time, I had one construction machine, and the number of construction machines I needed to operate was 12. It was one of the biggest tenders conducted in Marden again. We took risks and worked day and night. When I was about to buy the construction machine, I had a friend in Batman. I went and said, "Give it to me on promissory notes." I said, "I need to buy a construction machine." He said, "I don't know you." I said, "Ask about me in Marden." He asked someone, and the person he asked was someone who entered the tender against me. Of course, he understood. He told him not to give machines to me, but the man didn't listen to him. We bought the construction machine on installment. The interesting part, I didn't have the transportation money to load the machine and bring it to Marden. I said, "You give that too." Thankfully, he also gave that. Then we started the job, and I bought 4 more construction machines additionally. Normally, my other businesses were ongoing, but I didn't have a dedicated budget for the excavation work. Because I didn't have a budget, other businesses were running on the side. We bought 4 construction machines. We bought trucks and graders. We finished the job there and delivered it. Then this road asphalt work began. I participated in a tender in Ardahan. When I participated in the tender, there were 2 more participants. We placed our bids, and the job stayed with us. The job stayed with us, but normally in all tenders, there is a discount, Normally, bids are signed below the estimated cost. We there because the place was very remote. We bid a high price, but still, the job stayed with us after the job stayed with me. The other 2 competitors said, "Congratulations." "What happened?" I said. "They said you got this road tender, but from whom will you buy this gravel filler material?" they asked. Asterisk, asterisk. I said there must be plenty of quarries here from which I can buy. "There are only 2 quarries," they said. "And both are ours," they said. "You participated in our tender. You took the job from us. We won't give you materials," they said. At that time, I thought, where have I landed? I'm going to suffer a lot of losses or be banned, forfeit my guarantee. I couldn't let that happen because my business life had to continue on the other hand. A week later, I went to these companies. I said, "Give me the materials." Back then, we had offered 18 lira per ton. I remember it like it was yesterday. They asked for 25 lira per ton from me. This meant the company would incur a 40% loss, and they wanted all the money up front. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. 2 companies said, "We are the innkeepers and you are the traveler. You cannot take jobs here without asking us," they said. I also said that I could become an innkeeper like you. "But my advice to you is to give me the materials, or else you might find yourselves up against a very big competitor tomorrow." They didn't believe me. I set up a quarry right next to Sildir Lake, despite not knowing the business. The key point, in my opinion, is that when you move forward with people who know the job, there's nothing you can't achieve. I asked, "Who knows this business the best in Ardahan? Who knows the stone the best?" They gave me the name of a high-level geological engineer, and I took him with me. We went and secured a suitable location next to Sildir Lake, made the official application, came to Istanbul, bought a crusher from the islands, brought it and set it up. Just when we were about to start working, winter came. As you know, winter comes early in those regions. It's like there's no summer. The work was postponed to the next year. The next year, we started production. My production life actually starts from there. I started with the first quarry. I was 25 years old when I started this business. Starting the quarry business, I worked under very difficult conditions there. I slept at the construction site for years, managed the construction site. After getting the job there, since I had a quarry, I entered all the tenders that came out. I got 5 more jobs in Posov, Hanak, Ardahan Center, and Savsat. Managing 5 construction sites at the age of 25, 26, I became someone who managed 5 construction sites, managing 150 people. We completed the roads, handed them over. When there were problems with payments, people who work with official institutions would know better. When I finished the work, my money wasn't paid. When it wasn't paid, we essentially went bankrupt. I sold everything I had, the machinery, trucks, crusher, and came to Gebze starting from scratch. Since my childhood, I had a dream of manufacturing, of owning a factory. When everyone else was drawing in elementary school, covering the entire A4 paper with their drawings, I would cover the drawing like this, and they would ask, "Why do you do it like this?" I said, "I want a big house, a workplace. It turns out I was drawing my dreams. How could I know that I would become a manufacturer later on? So, actually, the dream starts in elementary school. The life you sketch on an A4 paper, we realized later on, you were actually drawing your life. I came here with an excavator worth 85,000 lira inside. Today, I have receivables from the state worth 15 million lira. The legal process continued, and I got my rights, but because I didn't receive it on time, I had to start from scratch again. In a way, I went bankrupt with a deficit of 890,000 lira and came to Gebze with my childhood friend. My childhood friend had 200,000 to 300,000 lira. I also had an old excavator that I was selling, but I never lost hope. I always believed I could overcome this, just as I had climbed up from nothing, doing construction, shining shoes, etc. I never lost hope, never gave up. I fought again. Here, despite not knowing the business, I asked my friend how this is done. Show me a plant. We went to a facility. I saw that there was nothing special there, This aerosol plant? Tin comes from one side, gas is filled from the other. There's nothing to it, I said. This seems simple, I said. Do you know the formulas? I asked. Do you know the business? I asked. He said he knew. Do you know the market? He said he knew. We can do this business, I said. But we have no money, just a checkbook. Then there was a facility close to us. We went to Hume Cosmetics to look. When we looked there, we wanted to take it over. They wanted $1 million. I offered $700,000, but I only have 85,000 teraliters in my pocket. I'll pay in installments. 2 years of installments. Are you joking with me? He said. I came across the place I am now when looking for a factory. It was for rent, and I asked if it was available for rent. They said it was for rent. I expressed my interest in renting it. They warned me it was a problematic place. I inquired why it was considered problematic. They explained they weren't accepting customers there. Upon hearing this, I sought out the property owner. The owner was a doctor in Gazios Manpasa. I visited him and said I wanted to rent his property. He mentioned it was 3,000 square meters in size. He asked if I intended to rent the entire space. I replied that 1,000 square meters would suffice for me. How much is the rent? I inquired. He said renting the whole place would cost 13,000 teraliters and 6,500 teraliters for 1,000 square meters. However, he cautioned that the place was problematic. I asked why it was problematic. The current tenant wouldn't leave. I stated I was willing to take the risk. I agreed to a 3-month rental. I paid for 3 months up front. Then I met with the tenant. I explained the situation. After some initial resistance, the tenant seemed to understand me. He agreed to hand over the place to me. This marks the beginning of my journey as a factory owner. I purchased my first machine. While buying the machine, I did thorough research. I look into who does the job well and which machinist is the best. I bought a machine from a reputable machinist. As I was setting up the machine, I came across another machine, which I also bought. I was refurbishing one machine while setting up another. The gas installation needed to be done. I visited my friend's factory. I asked him to show me the ropes. How is the installation done? Etc. He came and looked. They mocked me, saying this business wasn't for me. You're from Mardin. You don't know this business. How will you manage? They ridiculed me. It was a sensitive time for me because my money was tied up in the business. I had only a few coins in my pocket, all spent. I was doing this business with limited funds. It hurt me deeply. It was on the 4th floor. My landlord was stingy. He even kept the elevator off. I had to walk up and down to the 4th floor. I endured and stayed there. I had an old Doblo. I was doing the shuttle service and also bringing my own workmates. I ran 2 shuttle services. We started with 8 people. After this conversation, I went home. At home, I thought about the hardships I was facing. Oh God, I've closed the door. I'm asking what you want from me. I'm rebelling against God. At that moment, I fell asleep. I fell asleep and overslept. Asterisk, asterisk. Before going to bed, I fell asleep like that, but I was shouting so loudly that my children asked, "Dad, what's happening? Did something happen?" They thought I was talking on the phone, but actually I wasn't talking to anyone. I was asking God, "What do you want from me?" Those who wanted to show me the right way and guide me in this business mocked me. How was I supposed to do this? Help me. Either help me or take my life. I am rebelling. And while I was crying, I fell asleep. When I woke up in the morning, I saw that the factory of the friends who had mocked me had burned down overnight. I was very saddened, both for my own situation and because entering the same sector meant the same dangers awaited me. On one hand, I thought, God, how great you are, not leaving this matter until morning. In a way, it was divine intervention. A few days passed. While I was wondering what to do and where to find a team, the friend whose factory had burned down came to me. He said, "I see you've opened this place. I have customers too. Shall we work together?" I agreed without throwing his past actions in his face. I didn't blame him for anything, because I was looking for such an opportunity, and God provided it. Fate works in mysterious ways. After that, we started working together. We agreed on a percentage basis. Since I didn't know the business, the factory and capital were mine. But there wasn't much capital, to be honest. We made this agreement to learn the job. I gave 25% of the profits to this friend who knew the business. He brought in the team, and we started doing subcontracting work. We started in the cosmetics business first, then decided to make technical sprays. The friend with whom we started the business knew the marketing side well. Starting with this other friend, we gained experience in production. We acquired their 20 to 30 years of experience through brain hunting. We shared our bread, and it turned out well. We did great work, initially producing 5 types of rust removers, brake cleaners, etc. At that time, products were imported from abroad, very expensive. We can say we introduced the first technical spray in Turkey. While the same product was imported for $5, we started manufacturing it here for $1 to $1.5. We began doing subcontracting work for world-famous companies, though it's not right to mention names due to our confidentiality agreement. In technical sprays, we're the supermarket of the industry in Turkey, so to speak. We supply approximately 70% of the market, including subcontracted technical sprays produced in Turkey. For the last 5-6 years, we've focused on our own brand, Caldini. After focusing on Caldini, our profitability increased, and we never stopped investing. 4 years ago, we started adding something new here every year. While production was ongoing, we thought about how to make this more detailed and integrated. At that time, a tin can production facility became available. We bought the tin can production facility and added it to our operations. We are one of the 4 companies that produce tin cans in Turkey. We are the smallest, I might say. But we produce all the aerosol cans we use in-house, and about 50% of our capacity is also dedicated to subcontracting for other companies. In the last 2 years, we also entered into drum and lid production. We even produce our own pallets. We are one of the biggest 4 companies in Turkey in this field. I will not be modest about technical sprays. We produce the highest quality products. We export to approximately 70 countries. Our goal is to be present all over the world, to distribute our franchises worldwide.
$5 milyon bir yatırım.
I have been spending 1 week in Turkey and 1 week traveling abroad for the last 7-8 months. We are acquiring dealerships. In the last 7 months, we have added 20 countries to our customer base, 20 dealerships. Investments are ongoing. For the last year and a half, we decided to enter into the lubricants market. We have caught a very nice momentum in lubricants. We can be considered one of the largest producers now. We are also making a new investment, about a 2,000-ton production capacity investment that will take about a month. A $5 million investment, we decided on this in the last 3 months. And our target is America, Germany, and opening warehouses in Russia to introduce these products to the whole world. From these 3 warehouses, we aim to become a global brand. God willing, that's our goal if